how do you become a better you? How do you develop and create for yourself a better personality? How do you rewrite you to be your best? Well, that's what we want to talk about in this video. And so if you have any thoughts or desires about being a better you, check it out. Hi, I'm Brett, your favorite shrink, and welcome back. Welcome back. This is another My 5 Minds production. And here we learn about your brain. We learn about brain neurophysiology and a new psychology that I call systemology. It's how your brain works in a system. And today, we're going to look at your brain and how it works, because your brain is the key element in creating your personality, changing your personality, bettering your personality. Let me start with a story. And the story is the story of Jill. Jill came in and she's just been divorced, and she's at this place in her life where she basically has to reinvent herself. She wants to be a new her, but life gets in the way. She's busy. She has got a lot of responsibilities. She's got to take care of her kids. She's got to get some work done. She's kind of like a one-man band now, but she doesn't want to just get consumed in just more responsibilities, more tasks. She wants to be a better person. She doesn't want to be the same old Jill. Been there? Done that? Absolutely. Who of us haven't been there? Now, maybe not divorced, but in terms of wanting to reinvent ourselves, wanting to make ourselves anew. Two problems. First problem is her old personality, who Jill sees as Jill. That's problem number one. And the reason that's problem number one is because that Jill is going to stop the new Jill from forming, from becoming. Because who she is, who Jill is a pattern. It's a pattern of thinking. It's a pattern of feelings. It's a pattern of actions. It's a pattern that just reinforces itself over and over again. It's in a feedback loop, a positive feedback loop that every day gets stronger and stronger. It's built and wired into her brain neurophysiology. And so changing who she is going to be a two-prong process, maybe three. Okay, three-prong. First, she has to recognize and see that everything she's doing are patterns, habitual patterns. And that who she thinks of as Jill is really her brain neurophysiology playing itself out. Second thing she has to do is she has to step in and interrupt that pattern. Throw roadblocks, things that are going to stop and kind of throw that pattern off. And then the third thing she needs to do is she needs to build new patterns in her brain so she can be the person that she wants to be, right? Create that new Jill. All right, let's break that down and let's talk a little bit about how we did it with Jill. Research will show us that who you are, who I am, really begins to get formed 3-4 years old. Your personality, your emotional personality begins to become set at 3-4 years old. That's pretty early. As time goes on, we start developing social skills. We start patterns and habits in terms of how we're living life. And those are often based off or foundational from our emotional set that's happened at 2 and 3 is going to influence our personal choices, our personal patterns, and our personal behaviors and habits. So by the time you're 20, 30, you're locked. You're locked in stone. In emotions, behaviors, habits, and thinking. Every day you get up, you're going to put your shoes on the same way. Every day you're going to brush your teeth the same way. Every day you're going to run the same routines. That's what you do. You are a machine. And so in helping Jill, what we wanted to do first is I wanted Jill to consider a new idea. To consider the idea that who she is a machine, a pattern. And in fact, that is not truly who she is. I wanted her to consider for a minute that her thoughts, her feelings, her actions, her habits, her patterns, all the things that she defines as herself are mechanics, are the mechanics of the brain and the mechanics of the body. They're neural pathways that have been established over time in her brain. And maybe who Jill really is not any of that. Maybe who she really is this part of her called consciousness. The observer, the person that looks at all this stuff and sees the patterns. Because that's step one. I need to get her, step one, I need to get her out of owning, identifying, connecting with all of these patterns, because that's just going to reinforce the patterns. And I need her to dissociate, disconnect, because that's going to be our first interrupt. In second step is to disconnect and dissociate. That's not me. I have those habits, I have those patterns, I have those tendencies, I have those feelings. But that's not me. And then, from that observer point of view of disconnecting, then I had Jill begin to practice thinking, visualizing, and imagining who she wanted to be. 3 steps. So in our sessions, I'd sit down and I'd ask her to breathe, begin to relax, begin to center herself. And we were going to do a meditation. And in our session, in our meditation, I'd have her begin to become aware of her body. Become aware of her hands, her arms, her shoulders, her breath. And as she became aware of those things, to ask her to begin to pull away, to separate, to see but not be those things. To practice seeing herself, feeling her arms, but allow herself not to be her arms. To feel her breath, but not be her breath. To watch her breath, to see her breath, and to even change her breath from this disconnected point of view. And as we practice that first process called interrupts, she could find herself starting to relax. You probably felt yourself right even then as we started to breathe and started to become aware. You started to feel yourself disconnecting. And then we moved on from disconnecting from her body to disconnecting from her thoughts. And we meditated on that for a few minutes, seeing if she could hear her thoughts, seeing if she could even notice and hear negative thoughts and see those negative thoughts without being those negative thoughts. See if she could hear her brain expressing doubt. It's not going to work. Never works. Nothing's going to work. And practice just seeing those thoughts, hearing those thoughts, but not believing those thoughts, not letting herself be those thoughts. As we did that, we then practiced her feelings, feeling her emotions, anxiety, fear, even pain, stress, all the things she was feeling in life. But we practiced separating, not letting herself own them, but see them. Again, see them without being them. It's a cool and important trick. As we practice that mindfulness for a few few minutes even in our session, and then had her practice it a few times at home in her daily meditations. Then she came back and we moved on to the next phase. And I asked her to practice seeing who she wants to be. Don't get complicated about it. Don't get weird about it, but just imagine it. Imagine it first from a distance, seeing herself being the person she wants to be. And when doubts come up and resistance comes up, which it will, because her brain's a pattern, just let herself consider, what if? What if that's who I am? What if that's who I become? And just allow herself to imagine it, see it, begin to draw it, begin to create mental images. As she created mental images, then I had her practice imagining what it would feel like. Breathing it in, breathing it out. If I was that, what would that feel like? And then best of all, I had her begin to enliven that, begin to embody that, put it into her skin right now, to feel the excitement and allow her shoulders to drop. Allow her breath to deepen. Allow herself to smile and to begin to be those things that she wanted to be. That's where we begin to create change. The question you need to look at for yourself is, are you seeing you from the point of view of the architect or from the point of view of the builder? Most of us see ourselves from the point of view of the builder, and we're worried about where the nails are supposed to go or how the nails are supposed to work or what the plumbing, how to put the plumbing together. And we're worried about all the physical nuances of it. But really, that's not the hard part of building a house. The hard part of building a house is having the design, having a clear picture of what you want the house to be. When you have a clear picture of what you want the house to be, then putting together the details is easy. The guys that make the big bucks, they're the architects. They're the guys that are designing. And the guys that are making base pay, those are the guys that are actually constructing, putting it together. That is fairly easy once you have a clear vision of this, a clear vision of what you want. So, as you go about reinventing yourself, I want you to focus on vision, creating a vision for what that's going to look like, and then beginning to feel it, and then beginning to embody that. It's all called a consideration. And in fact, I have a new book coming out called Consider that's going to help you create this consideration for you. Thanks so much again for watching. I'm Brett, your favorite shrink, and this is My 5 Minds. Let me hear more about what you need. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.